Are you wondering which is the best robot vacuum to get? Well, let me introduce you to the MOVA Z60, the Narwhal Flow, and the Dreamy Aqua 10 Ultra. And all three of them are now coming with roller mop pads, and in the case of the Narwhal Flow, a track mop. So let's take out each of the robot vacuums. This is going to be on the MOVA Z60. The MOVA Z60, you pop off the top cover. You can see that it's coming with a smaller dustbin. It's also coming with that retractable LiDAR system. And next, this is going to be on the Narwhal Flow. The Narwhal Flow has a different design than what you see on the MOVA and the Dreamy. It's using the twin AI Dodge system here. And it's going to be having its full-size dustbin right up front. It gives you the most sophisticated dustbin out of the bunch here. And then they give you the dirty tank that's going to be built inside of the dustbin, while on your MOVA Z60, the dirty tank will be on the back as well as on the Dreamy Aqua 10. And next, this is going to be on the Dreamy Aqua 10. It also will come with a retractable liner up front. It has the stereo vision. And the Dreamy Aqua 10 has its own AI optical detection system, and it's going to be using that retractable liner up top with the LED light indicator lights above it. If you take off the cover here, very similar to your MOVA, where you have the smaller dustbin, and everything else is going to be inside or on the bottom of your machine. And if you're looking at the bottom of each respective unit, you notice that the Dreamy and the MOVA are going to be a lot alike, while you have bigger differences with the Narwhal Flow. The Narwhal Flow's track mop pad is going to be considerably larger than what you get on these roller mop pads on your MOVA or your Dreamy. And that's going to give it better overall mopping performance because you have more surface area for your floor. Because the Dreamy and the Narwhal are more in the tube shape, you have less contact with your floors than what you have with the track mop pad that's going to be more rectangular with the curves on the side. So on your Z60, it's coming with a shield that's going to protect your floors because it's covering up the roller mop pad on its own. That is not something you get on your Narwhal. Your Narwhal, this is not going to be able to be lifted up or down. What the Narwhal is able to do is that it's able to move the track mop left and right. Here you can see that without the roller, this is how it's designed. I took out all the components. On your Narwhal Flow, this is how it's designed. There's sensors, there's locks, and it'll be able to extend outward. There's even a little brush pad on the side. And your Dreamy Aqua 10, very similar to what you see on your MOVA, and it's going to be extendable, but you cannot remove this shield, as well as there's no lock, easy lock for the fluffer brush. And the MOVA and the Z60 both come with the same fluffer brush. It just varies how it gets locked into the respective unit. This is going to be the shield for your roller bar, so this is how it works. It just covers it up so that it's not going to be in contact with your floor. And this is going to be on the Narwhal Flow. This is going to be its track mop pad. So you have wheel on the top, wheel on the bottom, and this is weighted. If you compare the track mop on your Narwhal Flow versus the roller mop pad, you notice that the track mop pad is going to be thicker. And you can see the difference in the material here. Your Narwhal Flow's track mop is just going to be a little bit more plush. So putting it back together here, just lock it in. Your Dreamy and your MOVA will come with these extendable side brushes that are going to be able to shoot out into the corners, while your Narwhal Flow has dual side brushes here and here. They're going to be anti-tangle, so they're not going to get tangled on cords, but they're not going to be able to extend outward like you see on your MOVA and your Dreamy. And all of the robot vacuums that we have been reviewing have been caught up in some type of arms race in terms of the overall suction power. So if you're looking at the Narwhal Flow, it's coming with 22,000 pascals of suction. Your MOVA Z60 Ultra comes with 28,000, while your Dreamy Aqua 10 comes with 30,000 Pascal. Taking a closer look at all three robot vacuums, they all have different types of navigation systems, and they have different sensors that are going to allow it to avoid obstacles as well as identify what's in front of it. Your MOVA Z60 uses the flex scope retractable LiDAR system, which is going to be right up top, and it combines that with its AI smart sight so that it's going to be able to recognize up to 200 obstacles. And the MOVA Z60 comes with a LED light up front so you can actually see what's in front of it, especially if it's somewhere dark or it goes underneath a cabinet. Your Narwhal Flow uses embedded LiDAR, so what that means is that you have these sensors on the back and they're always going to be spinning, shooting lasers out so that it has a good sense of where it is. And it's going to be combining that with its object recognition system that's going to be able to recognize 200 obstacles in combination with its twin AI dodge system cameras. The Dreamy Aqua 10 will have the ability to recognize the most obstacles in front of it at 240. Where the Dreamy is making its biggest decisions is that it combines it with an NVIDIA chip that's going to be inside. And that's different from what you get with the Narwhal and the MOVA. And that NVIDIA chip is supposed to allow it to make better AI decisions. So should I go left, right? Should I go through it? It's meant to really help its performance. However, in actual execution, we have found that the NVIDIA chip takes a long time to make its decisions, and then the Dreamy Aqua 10 is constantly trying to make decisions instead of just performing the task in front of it. So by making things more complicated, the Dreamy Aqua 10 performance hurts compared to the simpler decision-making processes on your Narwhal Flow and your MOVA Z60. And if you're talking about the threshold climbing capabilities of all three of their respective units, the MOVA as well as the Dreamy are able on paper to go over obstacles up to 3 inches, and that's because it has that adaptive lift chassis so that it's going to be able to not just pick itself up but roll itself forward, versus your Narwhal, which is really just coming with one big wheel that's going to be able to go over thresholds up to about 1.5 inches. And in real world use, I wouldn't recommend using any of them for thresholds regularly that are going to be over 1.5 inches. So really just use them for thresholds at 1 to 1.5 inches maximum. And if we're talking about the overall vacuuming performance, the MOVA Z60 has this little rubber stopper here that really feeds all the debris right inside of its brush roll. That is something that your Narwhal Flow or your Dreamy do not come with. And I can tell you, this little piece here, which is just a glued on or stuck on piece of silicone, is more effective as a feature than majority of the features that are coming out on your robot vacuum. Something so easy, I wish they all came with them. If we're talking about the detangling brush roll systems on your MOVA, Dreamy, and Narwhal, your MOVA Z60 is using the Turbo Wave Detangling Dual Brush. And what that means is that this is basically the same dual brush system we find on the Dreamy X50 as well as on the Aqua 10. So when you're taking a closer look just at the brush roll itself, it really does look like the brush roll on the Narwhal mirrors what you get on just one of the brushes for your MOVA or your Dreamy here, because it looks exactly the same. It doesn't have that second brush that you see on the Dreamy and the MOVA. And they all follow the same principles here. You can see that the airflow is going from the left to the right, left to the right, and left to the right for detangling. Now let's get into performance, because if you're looking at the Narwhal Flow, it excels because of the amount of pressure it applies on the floor. But you would be surprised that supposedly it applies less pressure than the MOVA or the Dreamy. So in overall numbers, the Narwhal Flow puts 14 N on the floor. Your MOVA Z60 is set to put 18 N, while your Dreamy Aqua 10 is set to put 19 N. But in real world use, you'll notice that your Narwhal Flow will put as much pressure on the floor as what you get with the MOVA and the Dreamy. And that's also because the Narwhal Flow will kind of lift up its rear where the mop pad is, and then that's going to be putting more pressure on the floor because it's going to be angled towards the mop. And if we're talking just about real world experience, so I've used each of these 3 robot vacuums for a month. And in my time using them, the one that I really enjoyed using was the MOVA Z60 Ultra and the Narwhal Flow. But I enjoyed using them for different reasons, especially if you consider their overall performance. because I really enjoyed using the MOVA Z60 because it was a great vacuum. Because this guy, it could pick up everything on your floors and it would find it and not get tangled up or stuck anywhere. It had a great obstacle detection and it was simple to use. The Narwhal Flow, on the other hand, for my kitchen as well as my bathrooms, they mopped it much better than any other robot vacuum I've ever used. So there is a big difference in the overall performance of the Narwhal Flow as a mop relative to the MOVA Z60 Ultra as a vacuum. And where the Dreamy Aqua 10 really sits here is that it is the least predictable of the group. So if you compare the Narwhal Flow, MOVA, and the Dreamy in terms of their predictability, that you know what it's going to do. Once you fix and optimize your room setup, you know it's going to take the same path and clean it up faster every time. Well, the weird part is that the Dreamy Aqua 10 doesn't do that. It kind of just switches it up sometimes and decides to go left instead of going right, or go in a circle instead of going in a square. And the predictability is better on the MOVA Z60 as well as the Narwhal Flow. And if you're talking about the app experience, the Narwhal, the Dreamy, the MOVA, they're all going to be similar apps where it's going to map out your floors very quickly. You can decide where you want to place your rooms, but the interfaces are going to be different. So here, this is on the Narwhal app. You can see how it designs the room. You can also see that it will try to figure out where furniture is, as well as obstacles and things on your floor. And you can adjust how each of the vacuum, then mop, vacuum, vacuum, and mop modes work. You can also customize it, and that's, again, the same thing you get on your Dreamy and your MOVA app. I would say that if you want more customization, you want to go with the Dreamy or the MOVA because it was a choice. All of these brands make a choice, in my opinion, how simple or complicated and how much customization to give you. Similar to how much customization an Android phone versus an Apple phone will be. So here, what you're getting is that if you want more customization, go with the Dreamy or the MOVA, and if you want something simpler, the Narwhal is going to have the simpler app with less app choices. One area where the Narwhal did not beat out the Dreamy or the MOVA is going to be on the edge performance, and that's because the extendable side brush is just so effective at cleaning edges, especially corners, that it's not comparable when you just have dual brushes, even if they can extend outward in terms of the overall performance. And the differences for your Narwhal, MOVA, and Dreamy don't just stop in their robot vacuums. The differences are also going to be inside of their clean stations. So now these clean stations are some of the most advanced we've ever seen. The key difference between all three units is that on your Narwhal, you can really see how dirty the water is and what's happening because it's going to show it to you. And it's not going to stop until that water that you see there is clear. And that's different from the experience you're getting on the Dreamy as well as the MOVA. The Dreamy is supposed to have that. It does have a form of AI dirt detection on board. But the Narwhal just does it better here because it's not going to stop until that water is clean. So if you prefer your roller pads or your mop pads or your track mop to be fully clean after you have it mop your house, then the Narwhal Flow is really the only one that I've tried that actually gets to that point every time. You just have to empty out the water tanks more often, and that's going to be one of the big trade-offs. But the Narwhal Flow is also coming with the largest tanks out of the three. So the Narwhal is coming with 5-liter tanks, while the MOVA and the Dreamy comes with 3.5, 4-liter tanks respectively for their clean and dirty water. The Narwhal Flow will come with a vertical bag that's going to be fluffed up by the fan here, and that's something that the Dreamy also offers. It offers the bag fluffing feature as well as the bag drying feature. Same thing on your MOVA Z60. It also will come with a auto soap dispenser. That's going to be 2 compartments. And that's also going to be A and B. The auto soap dispenser on your MOVA and your Dreamy look just about the same. Take a closer look on the inside of each of their individual units. This is going to be those self-cleaning trays. Your MOVA Z60 has the simplest self-cleaning tray here. You're just going to remove it, wash it, rinse it. Your Dreamy is giving you the more basic tray up top because they have added that heating bar on the bottom. But that means this area is not removable, so you have to wipe it yourself. While on the other two, you can take these areas to the sink and clean them in the sink. And then you have just the drainage areas on the Narwhal as well as the MOVA. So ultimately, what's my verdict? Which one of these three is going to be the best for you? Well, it's really going to come down to what your needs are. So if you're looking for the best value, off the bat, it's going to be on the MOVA Z60. It has the lowest overall price, especially when it's on sale. It's coming with basically all of the same features as what you get with the Dreamy Aqua 10, except it implements them better, as well as it's going to have less issues than what we see on the Dreamy Aqua 10. But if it comes down strictly to mopping and you're focused on what is the best mopping performing robot vacuum, even though you get the roller mops on your Dreamy and the MOVA, your Narwhal Flow is going to outperform them. And that's because the medium, the track mop here is going to be thicker. It does a better job picking up debris off of your floor as a mop. And the self-empty station, this station here does a better job overall cleaning its mop pad because it's going to repeatedly clean that mop pad until it's fully clean. That is something that your Dreamy and MOVA theoretically should be able to do, but they do not do it to the degree that the Narwhal does. But with that said, if you're looking for better vacuuming performance, the Z60, because it has the same vacuuming performance you get on something like the Dreamy L50S Ultra or even the X50, this has very good performance in terms of recognizing what's in front of it, obstacle avoidance, as well as it's very heavy. So the entire robot vacuum is just going to be good at picking things off the floor. So ultimately, pick which robot vacuum is going to be the best value for you and pick which one is going to fit your lifestyle. If you want mopping, Narwhal Flow. If you want better all-around performance and value, the MOVA Z60. And you might want to take a flyer on the Dreamy Aqua 10, but it is a work in progress, and I'm sure Dreamy's Aqua 20 or a future update is going to fix some of the issues we're experiencing with our Aqua 10. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below, and please hit that like or subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. And I'll catch you next time. This is David with the French Glow signing off. Bye, bye, bye.